Welcome to ACD Combatives, your combatives and control tactics channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hey guys, so Coach Kurt here. It's funny, I had 3 different people send me a link to this video. It's Jesse Enkamp, aka the Karate Nerd, and big fan of his channel. I actually watch it a lot. It's mostly traditional martial arts, especially karate, aka the Karate Nerd. But he does this whole visit to Okinawa and traces the roots of karate, the birthplace of karate, as he says so many times on his channel. And he interacts with a lot of other big YouTube martial arts channels, but he did a video super recent saying BJJ doesn't work, and he entered a tournament, sport jiu-jitsu tournament, to prove his point. I actually agree with so much of what he says in the video. There's some clickbaity feel to it at first. I mean, just because he's a professional YouTuber, he knows how to get the likes. He's a professional karate instructor, but there's mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu at his school. They have a multiple level school in the basement area. They have this great MMA setup and jiu-jitsu matted area. So if it was complete crap, I suspect they wouldn't teach it at their school. But let's follow along and see what he has to say.
Today, I'm entering a Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournament to prove that it doesn't work.
And it doesn't work.
Just prove my point. They say 90% of fights end up on the ground. But 100% start standing up.
True.
And that's where we want the fight to end.
Because this is the last place you want to be in a street fight!
Yet there's a whole martial art dedicated to this worst case scenario. That's like my karate class practicing how to get knocked out. Just makes no sense.
Okay, guys, I'm a big fan of Jesse. Full disclosure, I watch his channel all the time. I love, especially the whole Okinawa series in China when he traveled and checked that stuff out. But back on track. Yeah, modern jiu-jitsu as we know it today. Not so much when he was saying back in the day when I went to Brazil, because it was still very self-defense oriented, a lot of standing, throwing, and takedowns. You watch old shots of Elio Gracie video, he still does a lot of judo-looking takedowns and throws. I'm also a fan of wrestling in jiu-jitsu. But yeah, modern jiu-jitsu has turned into a huge sport, especially because of IBJJF. Not a fan of IBJJF.
I think Brazilian jiu-jitsu only works if you play along with it. And to prove my point,
he's kind of right.
I'm going to enter a tournament on the street and simply stand up. But first, I gotta practice.
He's at his school. It's a karate school that
Turns
he
out,
teaches at.
Standing up is much harder than I thought. Especially when somebody wants to hold you down.
I want a new opponent.
My next opponent is just a brown belt. But
Just
he
a brown
immediately
belt.
chokes me out.
Probably been rolling for 8 to 10 years.
They call this an Ezekiel choke. And now that I know how it works, I can easily avoid it.
Easily.
My last opponent is a black belt.
It is hard to get an Ezekiel
Luckily,
on somebody
I'm
who
both
knows what they're
younger
doing.
and stronger. But every time I try to stand up, it ends the same way. This is not what I had in mind. That's when my brother Oliver appears.
Yeah, Oliver's a
Not as
professional
easy as you
fighter.
thought, huh?
Bellator.
As a professional fighter, he knows what works and what doesn't.
Put this on and meet me upstairs tomorrow. And don't forget what belt you are in BJJ.
Don't forget.
And he's got a plan.
Crash course in standing up. You smash me from top. Every second I spend here is a second I get more tired while you get more rest. So I need to relieve this pressure. I'm gonna wiggle this arm in here and this
Build your
arm is
frames.
gonna go in here. Now I have a frame, but I can't push you from here. So I'm gonna use my strongest muscles and I'm gonna make a
Hip bump
bridge.
shrimp.
Ooh! Now we have a few options. This direction, this direction, this direction, and that direction. You have to feel where your opponent is heavy. So don't move against the resistance, but use the easiest path available. Stay on the move all the time.
Like water,
if you're on
my
top,
friend.
you can rest. But if you're underneath, you need to work.
I better start training.
So yeah, this is from Side Control. I'm with Val. She's one of my training partners from back in the day at my old duty station. See how I'm hip bumping and then shrimping away? I'm going to show her this is what happens if you shrimp the wrong way or if you roll the wrong way. They can take your back. She's got me in a good gift wrap position, and she can mount. You never want to turn away. Well, I don't like to ever say the word never. There are times when you do turn away. Very rare. Generally speaking, you frame up, you hip bump, and you shrimp away. See how my butt is going away, completely out. And see how I'm clinging on her arm. I say I'm combing my hair, I'm trapping her arm, and then I'm stretching it out. And then I'm going to hip bump again and shrimp my butt the other direction and put in my closed guard. That is the first side control escape that you were ever taught in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And here I am showing more of a self-defense application where I was kicking and so forth. So again, hip bump, shrimp away. I'm inserting my knees. Val has short, powerful, strong legs, so I was showing her more non-closed guard applications because she had a hard time sometimes with closed guard. So here I am saying you don't want your foot out like that. Somebody can ankle lock it really easily. You want it in. You want that knee shield. You don't want it flat because then they can flatten you down and go over it. See how I'm trapping her arms against my legs and I'm pushing out with my legs. I'm creating that frame effect inside the bubble there, and then I am spreading it out. Got my knees up, and she's going to pull away, but this is perfect. You're only going to hold on to the wrist for so long, and you push away and you get up. The whole point of the video was to stand up.
It's finally time to see if Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works when you don't play along.
You can't anti-grapple unless you know how to grapple.
When the fight starts, my opponent immediately tries to grab my sleeves.
Grip fighting.
All I want to do is push his hands away. That's when he does something I never imagined. He just lies down and tries to pull me on top of
Called
him.
pulling guard.
But of course, it doesn't work.
Yeah, pulling guard is definitely a sport thing. I'm not saying you could never do it in self-defense or you shouldn't ever do it in self-defense, but generally speaking, you don't go to the ground unless you have to. Why would you pull guard? And you see me on screen pulling guard with my training partner. You would pull guard if the person is bigger, stronger, more athletic, a better thrower, a better takedown artist. These are the things that you would pull guard because they are better at you in the standing grappling game. If you can't create space and strike because you're not good enough at creating space because they're out grappling you in the clinch, then you might pull guard if you suspect that you're a better ground fighter. In a sport sense, that's definitely when you would do it. See how I'm putting my foot up on their hip? That's one thing that white belt didn't do against Jesse. He just flopped down. You need to build that frame with your foot up, and then you pull him down in guard. You can also turn that into, I call it the Captain Kirk throw, where you can throw somebody over and then roll up on them and mount, but that's neither here or there. That's a different video. But yeah, you're putting them in your closed guard. That's what he was trying to accomplish.
Grabs my lapel, so I try to strip his wrist off with both hands. But his grip is too good.
Yeah, grip fighting in gi is
tries to
so
pull
difficult.
Me down again.
Gi fighting is a totally different game.
I just pop back up and move away. I can sense that my opponent is getting frustrated because I refuse to go down to the ground with him.
Yeah, his opponent, like him, is a brand new
That's when he tries
white belt.
a new tactic. He goes for a foot sweep.
No balance
I decide to
taken there.
return the favor, but he fails.
You have to off balance.
But luckily, he just lies down anyway. This is when I realized that all my training has made me overqualified for this tournament.
Those shots are from a
because I'm
montage
never
that I
ending
didn't
up on the
include in the
ground.
video. It was funny. Watch it if you see his video. Watch the video.
That's when
It's
the
funny.
referee suddenly stops the action.
Yeah, he stopped the action because he was disengaging. The whole point of a sport jiu-jitsu match is that you engage in jiu-jitsu and you get points for the takedown, you get points for passing guard, you get points for holding side control, points for going to mount. These are all the things you get points for. So you're engaging. And it's true in wrestling too. You can't, or judo, you can't disengage. You can't be defensive. You're there to play the game that the sport is around. That's IBJJF way. Well, it's probably any jiu-jitsu, but I'm not a fan of IBJJF. It's super point oriented. You could win a match without choking, submitting, or anything to anybody. You could just beat them on points. I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. I believe in submission-only grappling, but hey, that's neither here or there. Again, the whole point of entering the match
I've broken some kind of rule.
is to engage. It'd be like
It
if I went
tells
to a
me that
karate
I'm not
match
allowed
and
to
disengaged and
disengage.
didn't strike the guy.
And if I don't start grappling, I'm gonna get disqualified.
Yeah, the whole
And
point
now
is encourage
my opponent
grappling.
refuses to even stand up.
He's a dirty butt scooter.
I doubt this is what the ancient samurai warriors had in mind when they invented jujutsu. Because it was supposed to be used as a last resort when your weapons fail, and the last place you want to go on the battlefield is the ground.
Yeah, combat and on the street, if you have a weapon, use the weapon.
But something changed when the art spread to Brazil. It became a sport, and the essence was lost. This is the exact same thing that happened to karate. Today, you can even become an Olympic champion by getting knocked out.
He's referring to an Olympic champion who got knocked out, and his opponent got disqualified, so the knocked out guy became the champion. So again, the whole point of, in my world of training jiu-jitsu, and this is the point Jesse's trying to make, and I applaud him for it, is it doesn't matter what you study, you need to apply it practically. And jiu-jitsu has kind of lost its way, generally speaking. Unless you work out at a school like my school's an MMA-based school, so the jiu-jitsu classes even incorporate a lot of concepts for MMA and self-defense, so that's good. But those are getting harder to find. A lot of jiu-jitsu schools are straight up sport. And sport jiu-jitsu, I call it butt scooting and playing on the ground too much. Now, guys, there's nothing wrong with playing sport. I have a friend who does sport, and he's a cop, and he definitely knows how to separate the two. But you have to keep the core of the system for self-defense, and that's the whole point of this video. He's saying you just stand up.
So now, I am left with no other choice but to finish
if he was
the fight.
doing this against a blue belt or
It's
better,
time
he
to
wouldn't
put
be
the
able to just stand
martial
up nearly
back
as
in
easy.
Martial arts. This was not part of the plan, so I have to find a way to win. Luckily, my opponent gives me his leg, so I try to break it.
Yeah, it's
But the
against the
referee
rules at a white
tells
belt
me
level.
I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah, again, at the white belt level, you're not allowed to do leg locks, ankle locks, heel hooks, stuff like that, because they can be dangerous, and you have to know what you're doing. So they don't allow it at the white belt level. And I'm sure other systems of martial arts have similar rules.
So I have to let go. I'm trying my best.
I think
to
it's
avoid
blue belt
my
or above,
opponent's
you can do
attacks,
the leg locks
But I'm
and
afraid
stuff.
that if I'm too passive, I will get disqualified.
Maybe it's purple belt, I don't know. I don't do
So I'm left
IBJJF
with
stuff.
no other choice but to go down to the ground.
And he's putting it on to
Luckily,
Ezekiel. See
I
how
know
his opponent's not
exactly
even
what
trying to
to
hip
do
bump
from
and
here.
shrimp. He's just laying there. Good Ezekiel. Probably learned that from his brother, though. I think his brother is a jiu-jitsu black belt. I don't know. It's neither here or there. So, yeah, the ground game, to reiterate, the only way to be good on the ground, i.e. being able to escape from a ground position, is to practice grappling. I'm not a big fan of the concept of anti-grappling. The whole concept of anti-grappling is misleading. To be a good grappler and to escape a good grappler, you have to be a better grappler. So you see, like Chuck Liddell was a master at doing that back in the day. He was a great wrestler, and people didn't know that. They thought of Chuck Liddell as being a great striker. Same with Conor McGregor. Amazing striker, but Conor McGregor is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He knows how to sweep, roll, shrimp, and get up back on his feet so he can put the game back into his world, what he's good at. He was a master striker.
So, I did some research, and it turns out that this statistic is for law enforcement.
So true, yep.
Because their job is to take a suspect down to the ground and put handcuffs on them. It doesn't apply to street fighting or self-defense for civilians. So the next time somebody tells you that 90% of fights end up on the ground, tell them, yeah, if you're a cop.
Yeah, that's a very suspicious... Listen, the Gracies made it famous. I don't know if they're the one that came up with the statistic or not, but back in the day, and they still a lot play with police officers. They train cops a lot. They have a Gracie survival tactics program. Back in the day, in the 90s, they called it Grapple. I forgot what it stood for, but it's evolved to Gracie Survival Tactics, GST. And I've been through the course myself as a training officer or as a control tactics instructor. My agency sent myself and a couple others to that class. Great class. My agency uses a combination of basic jiu-jitsu, Krav style stuff, and MMA stuff as far as the non-weapon stuff. They're your baton, pepper spray, handcuffs, taser, all that is part of control tactics. But guys, you don't want to go to the ground on the street or in a self-defense situation, obviously. I think we all are aware of that. But at the end of the day, even in law enforcement, civilian, it doesn't matter. You have to play the grappling game or train grappling so you are good enough to get up off the ground. I've always hated it when I went to Krav schools. I've been to a couple Krav schools where they're like, well, we train so we don't have to go to the ground. Yeah, you don't get to choose when you go to the ground. Sometimes the fight chooses for you. So I 100% agree with Jesse. Practice staying on your feet. And the statistic 90% is way overblown. That's so true. I enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed it too. Jesse's a great guy. I suggest you go to his channel and watch his stuff, especially if you're into traditional martial arts, specifically karate. I'm not a karate guy, but I love his channel. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, and share. Let me know if you want to see more response videos or, stuff like this. All right, guys, take care. Have a great day.
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out.